welcome to the Her Business podcast. I'm Susie, I'm the CEO at Her Business and I am your host. Inside the Her Business Network, right now we are focused on systems. And so if you haven't noticed, the last few of our episodes have focused on how you can systemize different parts of your business to make your life easier. Now we've been diving into some really great topics, including how to systemize gathering testimonials and how to systemize having a seamless onboarding system for new team members. Now, if you want to get some free resources that are going to help you grow your business without you having work harder and harder, then I'm going to recommend that you go to the show notes for this episode, not only to get a summary of what we're covering today, but to join the Her Business Network waitlist. Now, the waitlist is where you can go right now to get my support, weekly business tips until we are taking new members, which we're not doing right at the moment. But when you join the waitlist, you're going to hear from me every week with new resources and tips and, freebies that we have for you. So the waitlist is where I'm sending all the good stuff right now, and it's the list you want to be on. Now, today we are talking about a system that has a lot of mystery and anxiety around it, but it won't have after this episode. Today I sat down with one of our Her Business Network members. Her name is Jayne Day of Webonize, and she's an expert in all things paid advertising and marketing, particularly when it comes to Facebook and Instagram advertising funnels. Now, this is a really insightful episode for any business owner who has dabbled in or is interested in dabbling in the world of Facebook ads, because I've heard so many business owners say that this is an area that they can get intimidated about, and I totally get it. There's an extra layer of risk when it comes to actually paying for ads and just hoping that they work. And I've had ads that have been super successful, and I've had a lot of ads that just fell flat. And so it can feel like a bit of a gamble. And it's a gamble some people aren't willing to make, especially if you're on a small budget. But here's the thing, there's no algorithm god working for Meta that dictates whether your ad will thrive or flop. Although it can feel that way, there are actually systems and processes and ways to set up your ad funnels that will get you those winning ads, that will bring in those ideal clients. It's not just by chance. And our guest today is here to fill you in on the best practices when it comes to the systems behind winning ads and campaigns. And during the episode, you won't just learn about her expert advice about setting up a great ad, you'll also learn about other systems you need to have in place before you even go live with your ad campaigns. Now, Jayne, and I'll tell you more about her in a second, is also giving you an amazing freebie. So you want to make sure that you listen out for that. She's given us something called 100 high converting ad targeting ideas, and it contains proven targeting ideas for course creators, online business owners, coaches. She's even got strategies on how to lower your ad costs and some best practices. And I'm going to give you a link of where you can get that a little later on. Now, Jayne Day of Webonize works with small business owners to get more leads and sales through their online marketing efforts. And she does this by offering done-for-you services, where she takes care of everything, and also consulting and online training. And she's got over 13 years of experience. And right now, I know that she's working with some of our members and helping them get really great results with their Facebook and Instagram marketing. So let's dive in. Jayne, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Susie, for having me.
Well, I'm very excited to have you here. As one of our Her Business members, you've worked with a number of members inside of our community. You've spoken at our year-long mastermind. And so it's great to have you here for our listeners who may not yet know you, to talk about all wonderful things around Facebook and Instagram ads and campaigns that work and all those things. Shall we dive right in?
Let's go. I'm looking forward to it.
Good. So Webonize is your business, and it's all about helping organizations, mostly small businesses, optimize their Facebook and their Instagram funnels. Why do you feel it's essential for small businesses to have a process and systems behind their advertising, even if they're on a tiny budget?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is what I believe is the growth and success of any business really relies on audience and lead growth. So if you don't have a new audience coming in all the time, you don't have new leads coming in all the time, really you're not growing. So, and in my opinion, funnels fueled by Facebook and Instagram ads is the best way to generate that new audience and those new leads on an ongoing basis, so we don't have to rely on constant content creation, being on social media 24 hours a day or things like that. So while I don't believe anything is fully automated in marketing, ads ads and funnels are the next best thing to get us there without being in the business 24 hours a day doing our marketing. So having a system around how to run your ads and the strategy behind them is important so that you can be confident of your results and know that you're going to get those results without just giving your money away to Facebook, because no one wants to give money to Facebook for no reason at all.
No, they've got enough money. Now, a well-designed funnel, it can be a little bit like a machine that's working on autopilot, bringing in those leads and sometimes, going through the whole sales process. For someone who might be newer to this, could you walk us through some of the key systems or processes that go into building a funnel that can actually work on autopilot? What are some of the things that you take clients through?
Yeah, I think the most important thing to do first and foremost is think about your business and your ideal audience and what they're going to benefit from going through some sort of funnel or lead generation system. So having that as your first starting point and not just basing it on, you've heard another business had really good results with something, so you try and implement it into your business. So it doesn't always work that way. So keeping your audience and your ideal client at the top of mind is always really, really important. But then having your leads go through a process from initial point of contact with you and your business to ultimately becoming a paying customer and client, and how you can take them through a process, a system. Even though we're using the word system, it sounds a bit bit generic, but think of it more as like a personal system that you're taking them through, and how the best way is to get them from that initial point of contact with you to becoming a paying client. So a typical scenario for a lot of businesses that I work with is it goes from they land on a landing page or a opt-in lead generation page that's on your website or some sort of lost the name of it.
Like a landing page builder.
Page builder, yeah. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So, and then once they've opted in there, they go through an email sequence, and then at some stage, you'll then also want to be sending them to a sales page. So it's having those three things set up correctly, and most importantly, is having a way to track your data and your results. So once you start sending traffic through your funnels, you start to see the results, whether you're getting sales, whether you're not getting sales. You can then sort of fine-tune the areas of that funnel that aren't converting well, so that you can get those better results. So being able to track that data is really, really important.
So you said a number of things there that I think are worth pointing out. One is that you're starting with the end in mind. I want this customer to buy this thing. What needs to happen before that? What needs to happen before that? Because it's all well and good to get leads, but then if we're just hoping and praying that they buy something and we haven't set up that email sequence and we haven't thought about, we're going to need a sales page or a sales process or an order form. And so building that from the beginning before we start driving traffic. It's really important. The other thing you talked about is knowing who your ideal client is. And that, of course, is where we have to start, because whether you're doing videos or ads on Instagram or whatever you're doing, it's got to be appealing to your ideal client, not only the visuals, but also the messaging. And then when they go to the opt-in page, is that also speaking to them? So really, really important. And I love how we're talking about this strategically rather than tactically, because we can spend all our day on social media and we can even start paying for our social media. But unless we're thinking about it from a systematic, strategic approach, I don't think we're going to see the results that you're seeing with your clients. Do you have a particular client story that kind of demonstrates the difference that having a fully optimized, fully thought through funnel can make? Maybe there's a contrast between where they were and where they are now. And you can name names or not name names. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, for sure. When I get asked this question, a client does come to mind that I started working with about 6 months ago. She's in the health and wellness space. She's got a physical clinic where she sees clients one-on-one in person. She's based in Melbourne. And she came to me and she had a small email database, but everything was pretty much done in person and not much online. But she wanted to change the number of days she was working. And so she was creating a course. And so she wanted a system to get people into her world, learn more about it, and then ultimately buy her course. So we went through the entire process. As I mentioned, she had an email database, but she wasn't tagging correctly. She didn't really know who had purchased from her, who'd been into the clinic, and how those leads had come in. So it was just everyone lumped in together. So she didn't really know who would be suitable to buy this course that she had coming up. So what we did, we went through all of them individually and tried to tag them as best we could, and then put in a tagging system moving forward. So then as she was still going through her course creation, we were then we had knew who her ideal target audience was to buy this course. So we started building her audience on social media, using paid ads to do that as well, and started bringing in leads as well. So we used a lead magnet. We made sure that the topic of the lead magnet was specific to her audience and the people that would buy her course, but they were just one step back from being ready to purchase the course, so that we know that once she launched the course, they'd be primed and ready to go and in the perfect position to purchase from her. So we also went back to her original database that she had and started nurturing them, because she wasn't sending emails very often as well, at all, because her entire focus prior to this was just her one-on-one clinic. So when she'd completed the course, we actually got 5 sales from her existing database before we even started growing a new audience, which was really, really good. So we warmed them up really well. And then we went on, I think it was about three months. Once the course was ready to go live, she did a live launch of it, and she ended up selling 20 of them. So she did a live webinar launch and sold 20. So she did really, really well that way. So she was really fine-tuned on, once again, going back to knowing your ideal audience and your messaging. And you'll probably hear me say that a little bit in the podcast. And as we all know, your marketing, it all comes back to knowing that really well and getting your messaging right. So she sold it well in her live launch, and now she's put it onto Evergreen. So she's got webinar set up that's running on autopilot in the background. She doesn't have to turn up live to do that. We're sending leads and traffic to that, and she's generating sales every month, well, every week really, from that Evergreen models. And she's been able to go from working 5 days a week in clinic to 3 days a week in clinic, and she's doubled her revenue. So,
that's fantastic.
She's done really well. Yeah.
She's done fantastically well. And going from working one-to-one to having this one-to-many model is kind of the wish of so many women who are exchanging their time for money. And not only does she now have a systemized way to generate leads and turn them into sales while she sleeps, but also she's reduced her hours and given herself back so much time. It's a great story and a great demonstration of how 2 things. One, using these tools, because it's not about whether Facebook ads work or not. It's not whether the emails work or not. It's about really getting the skills or getting the professionals like you on board who know how to put all these pieces together that allow us then as business owner to step into doing more of the income generating work or working less or whatever it is, because we've got a systemized way of bringing in new clients. So very good. Now, a lot of, especially small businesses, they are kind of worried about spending money on Facebook, especially if not all the areas of their business are running smoothly. Well, what do you recommend people put in place first to maximize their, ad spend when they implement a funnel finally? Like, what do you do with them first?
Yeah, so I think it's everything pretty much that we've already discussed, having a CRM system that tracks, can handle your email database, handle your leads. And I prefer to go for a CRM system that is an all-in-one solution and it just doesn't send emails. So you've got a good way of tracking. There's CRM systems out there now that you can send SMSs to your leads. Yes. You can reach them on Facebook and Instagram. So it can all be done through a CRM system. So having that system set up, having your email sequence set up, and then tracking your results. And tracking your results would either be done through your CRM system, through your website, and Google Analytics at the bare minimum, having that set up as well. Because there's nothing worse than starting to run ads and having all these numbers thrown at us and what's happening, but how do you know it's really working? And the only way you know that is tracking it with analytics, knowing that the traffic that you're sending from your ads is actually converting into real leads and real sales.
Yeah, and what you're talking about there is just so important in so many aspects of business, that we actually know our numbers. you're tracking, you know what's working, you can turn things on and off according to, and really whether we feel like we're a numbers person or not, there's certain numbers that are really crucial to success in business. And I think this is part of it. If we're going to be paying for our leads and we're going to be paying to get new clients, then we want to know what it is to measure. And sometimes it's not always obvious, and that's where you can help clients go, well, these are the things that we're tracking. I want to talk about retargeting, because what I actually see is e-commerce stores are often good at retargeting. You'll go to an e-commerce store site, or you'll see an ad, you'll go through, you'll fill in the little 10% off when you first purchase, and they start to retarget you. I don't know that service businesses are as good at doing this. So I'd love to see, how do you systematically have your clients, systematically continue to show up in their clients' world until they buy?
Yes, and I like to look at retargeting in two ways. I think of retargeting as targeting people before they've become a lead. And when I say a lead, when they're voluntarily giving you their name, email address, phone number, whatever that is, and then retargeting afterwards as well. So that way you're capturing everyone through the entire process. So retargeting people if they've commented on your posts on social media, if they've gone to your website, you want to be retargeting them then for them to become a lead. And then once they've become a lead, retargeting, as you've mentioned as well, until they ultimately become a client. And I see a lot of businesses, they do the retargeting okay, but they've only got one or two ads set up. But without getting too technical or, advising you to create too much content, because I'm all with ease and doing everything, quite simple. But thinking of whether if they're a new lead, it's going to be something different that you're putting in front of them compared to if they've been a lead for 2 months and they're just about ready to purchase. So it's segmenting the people, the audience that you're retargeting, so you're getting the right type of content in front of them at the right time. Because when they're just a first lead, you're more warming them up, more nurturing them more. But when they've been a lead for a little while, that's where you want to push them over the line and get them to ultimately purchase what you're offering. So that's how I really look at retargeting. But retargeting can be a little bit difficult though for service-based businesses that are only just starting, because for them to work well, you do have to have a decent number of people in that audience. So that's where it does get a little bit tricky.
What is that number? Is it hundreds or?
Look, Facebook says 100. I really see you need more like about 500 for it to be really, really effective. So it's adjusting your strategy depending on how many people you have got in that audience as well to retarget. But as you grow, as you start to run ads for a while, you can sort of fine tune that a little bit more depending on how many's in that audience.
Very good. I want to talk a little bit about automation as it relates to Facebook ads, but it also applies to organic social media. And we're seeing quite a lot of people using tools like ManyChat to automate the communication sequences, but you can do it with paid ads as well. It's like comment this, and then the system starts to communicate with the person back and forth. And I've been at the receiving end of those sorts of automations, but also in creating them. Where do you stand on the balance of automating your replies to clients and actually having a human be in conversation with someone?
Yes, I love the automation tools. They make our life so much easier as business owners. But I do believe that we do need to have the human touch in there as well. People like to know that there's a real person on the back end of it. And, the tools like ManyChat, where we comment on posts or get people to DM us a keyword, people are used to that now, so they know it's automated and all that. But I think having the process, even in the automation, even if you can make it a little bit more personalised, so you ask them a question to determine, what sort of a client they might be, whether they're going to be ready to purchase from you now, or you need to give them something else to help them along, depending on what your business is. That can seem a little bit personalised, but it's still automated. But then in the end, I always recommend to my clients to be looking at their DM, seeing if there's something they can send them that's personalised just for them. And it can be just a quick glance through them, once a day or once every second day. That doesn't have to take too long. But I also find things like clients that DM their new followers, if they're an ideal audience, you don't have to do it with everyone obviously, because we get spam followers and everything like that, but just DMing those people and making it a personalized message, people really
doing that manually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the sort of thing you need to do manually, because you'd ideally go to their profile, see what sort of business they've got, or something like that. And I also find DMing new leads that come into your business, but going over to finding them on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and sending them a personalised message to that way. People really like that. They like to know that you've taken the time to do it, and sometimes I find that can fast track your results as well. So I think definitely adding the personal touch in there is really, really important.
Yeah, and I'll just add, because I've had this happen to me on LinkedIn, someone connects with you and then 5 seconds later they're telling you how you can buy their thing. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about actually having a genuine interest in who they are, what they do, how you can help them, without saying, buy my thing. I wanted to let you know, Jayne, and it'll be useful for those listening as well who are starting to do some automation. A friend of mine has figured out the sweet spot for him is to automate the initial communication. For instance, where would you like me to send your free download to? And then that bit's automated. But then the conversation back and forth is manual. So tell me a little about your business, or what sort of clients do you work with, or whatever the right topic is, where are you at in your menopause journey, whatever is relevant to you. And he is doing tens of thousands of dollars in sales every single week through this little strategy. And so for a lot of the people listening, what Jayne's saying about going to someone who's following you and starting a conversation, or what I'm saying about is, maybe automate some of it, but then go manual. We're small enough to do that. We don't have to have everything on super automation, especially as we're figuring out, well, what is the right languaging or the right messaging that works. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I really love that idea, and I've heard similar results too, of people that are doing the automation to start with and then doing the personalised reach out after that, and definitely does work really well. I've also had a couple of people, I haven't tried it myself, but they've come into my DMs when I've followed them or something and sent a personalised video or a personalised audio. So they've gone to the time, and you can tell it's personalised. It's got your name in it, and that got my attention. I mightn't have gone ahead and purchased from them straight away, but you can be sure that I'm watching all of their posts that they're doing on Instagram at the moment. So I think if you've got the time to do things like that, it's really good, and you can save yourself time by having certain messages saved in your notes or something, so you can just copy and paste and then just edit it slightly. So you can have those sort of things there, so it's not taking up too much time.
Thank you. And thank you for the work that you're doing with our members. I keep hearing great stories about their increased results and your commitment to your clients. So I want to congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I also just wanted to ask a question that I ask all my guests. And as you know, as a member of Her Business, our tagline is do what you love every day. What does a day look like in Jayne's world where she is doing what she loves? In business specifically.
In business. I mean, I just love working with clients and helping them get the results that they like. So I'm one of those marketing people that does like the numbers. So I like looking at the numbers and the data and working out exactly where something's not working and fixing it, and then seeing I don't know, I think it's a bit like it's a game to me, really, fixing something and just seeing the improved results just by making one small tweak. So it's just getting in there and then helping. I primarily work with women in business, so helping other women in business get the results and have the business that they ultimately are striving for. So that just really lights me up every single day.
Great. Thank you so much for joining me. You'll just have to look below to get Jayne's details, where you can find her and all the different services that she has available. If you're looking to get some support, especially in the area of paid advertising and marketing. Anything you'd like to leave us with?
I would just like to say, don't be scared of Facebook ads. If you're starting from scratch, get in there and have a go, but start small and just monitor your results and get the success you deserve.
Great. Thank you so much for joining me.
I absolutely love what Jayne said when we were talking about the balance between automation and having human touch in the mix. And I'm just in awe of how many new tools are coming out that make automation easy. They're really incredible resources for us as business owners, especially if you don't have a large team to call on. But I do think, and we have been putting this in place at Her Business, that we need to find that balance, even though it's tricky, of when do we automate and when do we bring in the human touch. And if you do a lot of client outreach and you're bringing in hundreds of leads every day, maybe you can lean more heavily on automation. But if you're focused on bringing in a really niche ideal client, or you have a really high priced offer, then having a human connection could be exactly what you need to make the sale. Now, I think this is such an interesting topic, and I'd love to hear your opinion. So do you dream of the day when you can fully automate sales in your sleep, or do you prefer to have some personalized contact with your clients? I know I like a little bit of both. It depends which one of our programs that I'm talking about. So you can let me know your comments on our recent Instagram post about this episode. You will find our Instagram account. If you just look for @herbusiness, you're not only going to find information about this episode, you're going to see all the great tips and content that we are putting there. And so I would love to know what your thoughts are on this episode. I think the balance between automation and manual communication really does depend on who your ideal customer is. And if you'd like to get your hands on Jayne's 100 high converting ad targeting ideas, this is a special bonus that she's made available for listeners of the show. You can grab them now in the show notes. It's a great free resource that Jayne is giving to listeners of this episode, and it contains 100 proven ad targeting ideas tailored to coaches, course creators, and online business owners. She even has some strategies to lower your ad costs and her best practice tips from all her years of experience. And it's an incredible resource, and it's completely free, and you can grab it right now and look at the show notes from today's episode over at herbusiness.com/279. herbusiness.com/279. Now, while we're here, I want to give a shout out to a couple of our members. One left us a review. The other one is the person who the review was about. So Erica McInerney of Mac and Ernie, she helps small business owners and community leaders in regional and rural areas stop stressing and guessing when it comes to their marketing and social media. So she's got a wonderful niche. Now, she listened to episode 273, which was called Let's Talk About Mental Health for Small Business Owners, and that was with another member, Leanne Faulkner. And here's what she said. Erica said, I think a lot of people start out preparing to fail instead of preparing to succeed, and it's a real problem. I did it myself and then spent a long time trying to retrofit systems and software. Big learning, and something I can always cover with startups. I cannot wait to listen to this. And she was responding to a post that was about how Leanne had grown her business too fast, and that led her to have a lot of mental struggles. And so you can hear more about that episode at herbusiness.com/273. I'll also put a link inside of the show notes. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I love doing this show for you. If you're a new listener, be sure to hit follow or subscribe wherever you are listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to leave us a rating or a review, I can't tell you how much I would appreciate it. Firstly, I'll give you a shout out on the show, but I'm not trying to bribe you. I just want to let you know that as a podcaster, our ratings and reviews, they are so important to us continuing to be able to do this and to get the word out and get more women empowered and really connecting with information they need to grow their businesses. So I will see you next time back here on the show. As I said, if you don't already subscribe, when you subscribe, you'll receive the next episode automatically. And we've got some great shows coming up over the coming weeks. So join me next time, right here on the Her Business Podcast. Bye for now.